Greetings, quarantiners, and welcome back to Lighthouse Hill. It's been a few weeks since we've posted a video, and we do apologize for that, but it's been a little bit hectic, what with quarantine and springtime and getting new beds in and new irrigation. If you subscribe to our Facebook page, you may have seen some of the still shots of the new bed, the new irrigation. Today, we'd like to do something a little bit different. It's a blustery, windy spring day, so we figured we'd stay inside. And I'm going to make some oven roasted garlic bread. This is a recipe that we found on the internet, and it's from Old World Garden Farms. So here we go. The first step is I have here an entire head of, I believe this is Moroccan Creole garlic. This is something that we grow ourselves. And what I'm going to do is, let's make sure this is sharp, yeah. I'm going to cut this head of garlic so that all of the cloves are exposed like that. I'm going to peel some of this loose stuff off. I don't like the looks of that clove, so we're going to pop him out of there. All right. Now, pretty, huh? Oh man, that stuff is pungent. All right, so I have here a little Pyrex dish, and I'm going to drizzle that with a little bit of my wife's lovely, what is that, rosemary infused olive oil. We make this special, just a little drizzle there, just to cover all the cloves. And I have my toaster oven set, preheated at 400 degrees. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil, and I'm going to let that go for 30-35 minutes until they're nice and tender. And we'll be back after this. Welcome back to Rachel Ray at Home. Oh, no, just kidding. Welcome back to Lighthouse Hill. Although my eye makeup is better, quite frankly. Got my wine here. It's a lovely, blustery spring afternoon. My garlic is freshly roasted. I wish we had smell-o-vision because this would just kill you. So, that's still a little bit on the warm side, but what we're going to do is we're going to grab this guy right here and just give him kind of a squeeze and let all that garlicky goodness pop down in there, and hopefully we don't get any of the garlic paper in there. That's no bueno. I'm just going to pick through this, get the good, soft, garlic. Well, can't talk today. It's no fun unless you make a mess, people. It's no fun unless you make a mess. Yeah, that's good stuff there. All right, so I'm going to let that aside. Pardon me for a moment while I do something with this. So this particular dough is going to be kind of wet and sticky. So when we set it to prove, we're actually going to set it to prove in this mixing bowl. So what I have here is 2 cups of warm water. You can let that go in there like that. All that garlicky goodness, right? I have 2.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. Set that on one side of the bowl. I have 2.5 teaspoons of baker's yeast. I'm going to set that on the other side of the bowl. Now I know what you're saying, isn't the salt going to impede the yeast? Yes, it is. But as our old friend Paul Hollywood says, the longer the prove, the more flavorful the bread. So we're just going to give this a nice stir, getting this yeast kind of almost completely dissolved. And then once that happens, I'm going to start sprinkling in. What I have here is 3.5 cups. The recipe calls for 3.5 cups of AP flour. I've split that in half. I have half of that is bread flour and half of it is AP. So we're going to just start sprinkling that in there, mixing it up, making sure it gets nice and happy. This might take a little bit of mixing to, not fun unless you make a mess, people. Hey, hold it down in there. Sorry. This might take a bit of mixing to get completely incorporated. And like I said, it's going to be a sticky dough. But we'll muddle through, huh? So there's all my flour in. Let's set that aside. Get this guy mixed up. Looking nice and lovely. You know, and at some point, the spoon is just going to become moot. So get all that goodness off of there and get in there with your hands. Just kind of pinch it together. Get a good, nice mixture out of it.
Can you use a dough hook and
I would
like a
assume you
KitchenAid?
could. If you have a stand mixer with a dough hook, I would assume you could. It's not going to come into a solid, cohesive ball like you would with a regular loaf of bread. So as you can see, this is actually starting to come together here. And it's a very, very sticky dough. But that's pretty much incorporated. And wherever I come across a clove of garlic, I kind of pinch it just to kind of spread it out. You know, mush it a little bit. Alrighty. This is lovely, lovely, lovely. It's almost kind of like making biscuits. The way my wife makes biscuits the old-fashioned way. That's lovely. Just kind of massage that flour into that oil till you have a nice cohesive dough that looks completely incorporated. Try to get as much off your hands as you can. Put it back in there. Yummy! Not fun unless you make a mess. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and cover this bowl with just a towel. And we're going to let that prove for 2 hours. Now in that time, that dough should double in volume. And then from there, we will fashion loaves and let it have a secondary rise. And we'll get to baking. So stay tuned. And welcome back. Our dough has risen for 2 hours. And oh boy, does she look like she's doubled in size, huh? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this flour and I'm going to dust the top of this just lightly. Maybe a little bit more. I'm going to dust this board again, kind of light. I'm also going to dust my hands. So now we're going to turn this dough out. Wow, look at that. Do you see the gluten? See the structure? Wow, that's lovely. Come on. Yeah, baby. That's some good stuff there. I can smell it. Get a little bit more flour here on my hands. We're just going to kind of roll this up lightly. Kind of move it around a little bit. Get it coated in flour. Need a little bit more flour on the board. Get that excess off of there where it's stuck. And we'll throw a little bit more flour down. Oh yeah, that's much better. Much better. All right. I'm just gonna kind of get this into a blob, a rough loaf shape. This isn't my final destination here, because in all reality, I'm gonna cut this guy in half, and it'll make 2 loaves. So, approximately like this. Back up. There we go. Again, keep your hands dusted with flour because this stuff it's a sticky dough. So move this guy back out of the way. We're going to get this guy kind of dough-shaped or loaf-shaped. Just a regular kind of free-form round loaf is what we're going for here. I suppose you could have put this in a loaf pan, but this is what it called for, and I quite often do free-form loaves like this. Alrighty, I think that's going to be a good spot. So I'm going to let these guys prove again. Oh, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. Probably 20. But in the meantime, we have here our pizza stone. And about halfway through my proving time, I'm going to set the oven at 450 and preheat. Get this guy in there, get him good and hot. And I'll put a pie pan underneath of it for water. So stay tuned. And welcome back. As you can see, our loaves have proven for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. I have my pizza stone preheating in the oven. I have some hot water there, ready to go in my my little dish underneath. I think they call that a bain-marie. I'm not sure. Look it up. Let me know. I'm not really sure. Now, this is going to be interesting because I don't have a pizza thing. So we're going to have to figure out how I'm going to transfer these loaves onto the pizza stone. What we're going to do, I think, is pull her out on the rack like this. Now I'm going to use a little yellow cornmeal to sprinkle across the stone here. And this is just to keep it from sticking. And this is really the only thing that I use yellow cornmeal for anymore. We have discovered the joys of blue cornmeal. It is the best ever. And if you would like to try some out, please go to etsy.com/shop/Lighthouse Hill. All right, so I'm going to dust my hands up a little bit. Yet again. Maybe give just a little sprinkle across the loaves here just to make them easier to handle. Bring the loaves on over here like this. We got a little stickage here. Got a little stickage. That's okay. That's okay. I'll get him up there. Like the oh. And there we go. We'll make the transfer. They're going to run into each other, but I'm good with that. We'll break them apart after they cool. So, I'm going to run that in. Pull this out. Here's my little, I guess, bain-marie. I don't know what it's called. That's a cup of hot water going in there. So we're going to close that up and set the timer for 30 minutes. Now what that hot water is going to do is it's going to make that crust all nice and crispy but nice and chewy and soft on the inside, kind of like a baguette. So that's going to cook for 30 minutes, and we'll pull her out and see how they look. Welcome back, boys and girls. It's been 30 minutes, and let's go ahead and pull these loaves out of the oven. Now I'm just going to go ahead and pull the whole pizza stone because I think it's going to be easier on me. Oh my goodness, boys and girls. Isn't that pretty? Well, I'm pleased with that. Now we want to let these guys rest for about 20-30 minutes. In about 10 minutes, I'll transfer them over to a wire sheet so they can properly cool. But I'm very pleased with this outcome, and I'll let you know how it tastes. And if you're interested, I will post the actual recipe on our Facebook page. So please visit us on Facebook, visit our Etsy shop, continue to come back and see videos, silly ones like this as well. Have a great evening, and salute!